So we're at the next, this is actually the last creek I was going to fish in the Dane County Trout Challenge. But we're at Mounds Creek, the east branch of it. It's a pretty good sized creek. I actually fished here once earlier this year when it was gin clear and I didn't get a bite. But last year I fished this spot and I caught like 3 or 4 fish into this spot. So the water looks a little dirty right now. But the strategy is we have these fish right here. So I'm going to throw this spinner and a number 6 Panther Martin and see if we can get anything to go.
Here is the east branch of Blue Mounds Creek, which Blue Mounds Creek flows into Black Earth Creek, and then they flow into the Wisconsin River, and there's an east and west branch to Blue Mounds Creek. The west branch of Blue Mounds Creek is in Iowa County, the east branch of Blue Mounds Creek is in Dane County, and the east branch of Blue Mounds Creek starts at the conjunction of Alvers and Ryan Creek, which were past videos in this challenge, which I'll make a playlist of all the videos in this challenge, and you can go back and watch them. And like Alvers Creek has a pretty high gradient to it, this creek, as you can see from the background in the video, has a really low gradient to it, next almost zero. And this says in the DNR website that this creek has kind of a flashy stream flow and issues with runoff due to a lot of agriculture, although it says only 15% of the watershed is in agriculture currently. So some of this I think is like CRP land or land that the DNR has bought, which is not in agriculture currently, but probably once was in agriculture. So there is issues with silt problems. And the upper part of this creek, where the latter part of this video has been straightened in the past, and kind of doesn't have a lot of habitat. But it also says that the upper part of this creek has more trout than the lower part of this creek. And when they did a survey in 2010, at the bridge downstream from this one I fished, they found only like 60 trout per mile, and this is a pretty good sized creek, so that's not that many trout. And at the bridge upstream from here, they found like 240 trout per mile, which is higher, but still isn't super high for a trout stream like this size. So this probably has a relatively low abundance of trout, and it's considered a class 3 trout stream, which class 1 is the best, which means it has natural reproduction, and class 3 is the worst, means there's limited natural reproduction, and it depends upon stocking. So this creek is stocked annually with either has been stocked annually with either brown trout fingerlings or adults.
Better.
And it's occasionally gotten some rainbow brood stock or yearling stocked in it. And in 2016, it also had some brook trout yearling brood stock put in it, which are bigger fish. And its habitat, from my perspective, probably isn't that good for natural reproduction. But if the fish would swim up into Alvers Creek, which flows into it, that has a nice rocky substrate in places, which is excellent for trout to reproduce. So there's probably most of the reproduction occurring upstream in Alvers Creek, which flows into this Orrin Ryan Creek. And the first spot was dead, and I only had 1 bite from it. So then I went to the second spot upstream, hoping it would be a little clearer, which it was. And then I was almost thinking I wasn't going to complete this challenge. And like the last 50 feet of this creek,
there we got one.
The fish were
Not
on
a
fire.
Failure. And we're almost to the end of this creek too. And he released itself. Perfect. I was going to keep it anyways. Another dink. See, another dink. We need to make sure we're getting video. Dink. Here's a decent one. A little brownie. I think we found lots of dink.
Last part of this video isn't on Blue Mounds Creek. This is where I walked up Ryan Creek because there's a bridge like 100 yards up Ryan Creek, which was easier to get out of rather than walking through this jungle that is turned into throughout the summer. If you go back and watch the older Ryan Creek video from in March, you can see there's so much more vegetation than there was then, and it makes it a lot more difficult to fish. So the only way you can really fish this spot is to wade it. So the Dane County is partially, a little bit of it's not glaciated and a lot of it is glaciated, and the part of the county which is in the driftless area which isn't glaciated has a lot of the trout streams because there's good connection to groundwater and a lot of ground base flow coming into the creeks, which keeps them cold or cool enough for trout to live in. So that is this part of the county. And in this challenge, I added up how many trout I caught, and I caught 38 brown trout and 11 brook trout, with the biggest brown trout being 17 inches and the biggest brook trout being approximately 11 inches.
Green Acres.
So it appears that most of the trout in this county, or any of the streams I fished, are dominated by brown trout, which is probably pretty reasonable. But there's definitely some brookies still present, and the brown trout are stocked. Most of the stocking actually is for brookies, which is kind of interesting. So that probably means the browns are naturally producing pretty well. And I caught trout out of 21 of the 27 creeks. And I caught fish on spinners in 20 of the 27 creeks. So if you want to try trout fishing, a good starting bait is a small spinner. This was my last episode of the Dane County Trout Challenge, 27 creeks out of 27 creeks fished. And I appreciate everyone that has watched this series and enjoyed this series.
Nice.
And I will make a few more creek fishing videos, and I'm going to make a how to find these creeks and fish them video and just discuss some of my tactics in upcoming videos. So please subscribe to me if you enjoy these videos. And thanks for watching.